I lied to my boyfriend about my childhood secret and finally told him the truth.
Imaginary friend.
I'm aware that this is a terrible thing to do, and I will live with the guilt of it my whole life and cannot apologize enough to those affected by this. When I was starting 8th grade, I went into a completely new school district due to bullying at my old school. I still had one friend from my old school who I texted daily. We'll call her Molly. By the way, this comes from Square Efficiency 553, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, Molly and I had this idea to see how long I could convince the students at this school that I was colorblind. I am not. And we decided it would be easiest for me to pretend to see in just black and white, which I'm pretty certain is not a thing. So I wouldn't get stumped if people tested me. Unfortunately for me, I was quite convincing and nobody ever called me out if they doubted me. I went on to fall out of contact with Molly because she stabbed me in the back and was then worried everyone would hate me when I came clean alone without her to defend that we had come up with it together. At this point, I had made a whole new friend group who believed me, and the entire school that knew me also knew that I was colorblind. Fast forward to meeting my now boyfriend. Nothing special, just lucky on a dating app. He was everything I was looking for, and I couldn't have been more happy and still am. We have never fought in the 2 years we've been together, apart from silly debates about SpongeBob plots and what kinds of food is better. I love him more than anything, and I want to spend my life with him. However, I don't believe I deserve to have that. When we started getting serious, he met my best friend since high school. And in the meeting, my color vision came up, and rather than come clean to my best friend, I decided to lie to my boyfriend, and I feel terrible to this day. My issue is I don't believe I can continue to go forward when there is this lie hanging over the whole relationship for no reason. I feel I have done the equivalent to cheating on him by lying for our entire relationship. I know I have to come clean, and I'm going to, and hope for the best. I suppose I simply would like advice on how to best go about it. His family also believes I'm also colorblind. Feel free to rip me a new one in the comments. I deserve it for faking a disability, and I take full responsibility and will not claim I was a child and didn't understand. I knew I was wrong, and I regret it. Edit, those telling me to add to the lie are not helping. I know some are jokes. My issue isn't I'm scared he'll figure it out. I want him to know. I simply want a smart way of going about telling him. Comment 1. Listen, I once convinced a priest I was my twin when I was in 7th grade. Except I don't have a twin. I'm an only child. That's what kids do. They F around. In your case, you're finding out a little too late. If I can come clean and risk eternal damnation with a man of the cloth, he ended up finding it hilarious, but did recommend therapy. I'm sure you can come clean to folks, because it's effing funny. Comment 2 says, I am legitimately blind in one eye, and almost everyone I know constantly forgets about it. I have no idea why anyone would give a single F about whether or not someone was colorblind, let alone bring it up constantly. Comment 3, here's the thing. You've been feeling shame about this for so long, you've lost perspective. So I'll tell you, this is objectively hilarious. It's also not that big of a deal. You told a lie as a kid to get attention. You didn't hurt anybody with this lie. You got in too deep and kept it up to avoid embarrassment in high school. Probably when the shame started getting tangled into it because you knew by that point that it's a little cringe to tell an attention-seeking lie. Now you can't separate the reality that it was a dumb, silly thing to do, and nobody's gonna hate you or cut you off for it. From the alternate reality you've created in your head, that this was a shameful lie and you've betrayed your friends and the boyfriend by telling it. The alternate reality is not a thing. It's not real. Try to get an aerial view of this. Imagine your boyfriend claimed to be left-handed as a kid because he thought it'd be cooler and somehow managed to learn to write with his left hand and fooled everyone. Now imagine him coming to you, solemn, guilty, almost in tears, and admitting that he's not actually left-handed. He's been right-handed all along. You'd laugh your butt off, right? I mean, if my husband told me that, I definitely would, because it's funny and nobody got hurt. And it's so not a big deal. I'd probably make fun of him for a while. Not mean, just teasing. And then I'd probably forget about it. Maybe once in a while I'd remember and chuckle again. Just come clean to your boyfriend. It's not that deep. Your brain and shame are tricking you. And OP does reply, but I agree with all those comments.
I think that was also really nicely worded. 'Cause that's what I was saying too, where like I think there were a lot of people who were like You're making a big deal, like brushing it off, and it's so clear that to this person, like, they have made deal. Like, and so I like the way that person worded it. That was like, hey, like, you've been kind of inside for so long, like dealing with this, that you have lost perspective. Like, this is fine.
It's like when you know, are worried about something, and then you internalize it, and then you're thinking about all the worst possible scenarios, and then when you like journal or you tell someone, you're like, oh, actually, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just getting perspective on it.
That is a constant, I feel like, lesson that you never stop learning is just being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that open communication made everything better. And then you learn that lesson, promptly forget it, and then have to just relearn constantly. And be like,
it's Groundhog's Day.
So it is a little bit.
Wow, can't believe open communication saved the day again. OP replied, thank you so much. I told my mother and asked for help, and she couldn't stop laughing enough to speak. I guess it's not that bad, but my shame is that it's a disability I faked and in a way was making fun of those who genuinely suffer with it. And a comment 4 says, LOL reminds me of how I said I lost my virginity to a non-existent man named Jack and kept it alive for an entire 7-year relationship with a dude I actually lost it to. I don't know. Tell him you have to tell him something and it's really bad. Just keep alluding to how terrible it is so that he thinks you slept with his dad or drowned a litter of puppies for fun. Then when you finally reveal it's just that you're not colorblind, he's relieved. OP says, I hate to admit that's what I was thinking from the start, but I don't think I could bear to even make him think I would do that. Update. I spoke with my boyfriend last night while having pizza. I simply said what I typed above, as many people suggested, and after a lot of blank stares, silence, and a simple, what? He started laughing. I was laughing nervously, and I was still unsure if he was going to get up and leave my house, but wanted to laugh at me first. Dramatic, I know, but that's me. He calmed me down because he's a saint and told me I'm stupid, and that was weird, and he's still slightly shocked, but ultimately he didn't care. We continued eating our pizza, watched the next Marvel movie in our lineup, and had a completely relaxing night. I waited to update, still unsure if he was staying with me after a night's rest on it, but I'm happy to say it's as if nothing has changed and I couldn't be happier. I saw a few comments of Paul that I was sorry for lying to my boyfriend, but nobody else. I will admit my post did make it seem that way, and maybe he was the catalyst to make me take the steps towards coming clean, but I do deeply regret lying to my friends as well. And you guys would deeply regret it if you didn't listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there's a little bit left to this story. On that note, I told my best friend as well over the phone because she lives hours away at college right now. And she also thought it was hilarious and shocking I managed to keep it up this long. She also said she wasn't upset with me and it changed nothing between us apart from the relentless teasing I'm sure is coming my way. I haven't told my boyfriend's family yet, as I want him and I to decide together how to go about it. Because he obviously knows them better than me, although I have already come to love them as my own family. And that's the end of that story, folks.
My boyfriend hides girls on social media and then says I'm the toxic one.
Well, we better find them.
Yeah, where are they? Where have they gone? My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 8 months. I have been in a very toxic 4-year relationship before him, and he hasn't been in one before. I broke up with my ex because he was constantly following and looking at other girls. Because of all the things I've been through with my ex, I carry a lot of insecurity with me, which leads to a lot of jealousy from my side. By the way, this comes from user NoPrune9960. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Sophia.
And we are here to give good advice in a goofy manner, but we don't know everything, believe it or not. So we only know what we would do. So if you have other opinions or experiences, speak your truth down in the comments.
Speak your mind.
Speak your mind, speak your truth, speak your heart. OP says, in the beginning of my relationship with my current boyfriend, I wasn't jealous at all. That's because he made me feel like the most beautiful girl in the world. I trusted him 100% to not be looking at or talking to other girls behind my back. However, one day we decided to warn a girl about her being spread via his TikTok account. It was late and I decided to go to bed. A few hours later, the girl added me on Snapchat and sent me screenshots of the conversation. Turns out he had given her his Snapchat, but deleted it for me so I couldn't see it. I was hurt a lot and acted out on him. We had a big argument about it. A few months into our relationship, we decided to go on a trip together. Out of boredom, I asked if I could go on his phone. He said yes. I decided to go through his photos and saw that he had saved a girl in a bikini. I got really upset at him. He told me it's because it was a girl he knew. I still didn't like it, but I decided to calm down. A few days later, he lost his phone on this trip, so I told him he could use my iPad until we got back. I noticed that a girl had viewed my profile on TikTok. My first instinct was to look at his TikTok account. I saw that he had unfollowed me, but left me as a follower. I got really upset at him and was really mean because I thought it was strange that he did that. I also noticed that the same girl had followed him on there. I didn't really think much of the girl at first. The next day, I walked in on him texting someone on my iPad on Instagram, and when he noticed my presence, he swiped the chat away. That day, he acted really strange and wouldn't leave me alone with my iPad. He even wanted to take it outside with him in his pockets when he had to grab something. The first moment he left me alone with the iPad, I decided to look onto it. I saw that a girl had messaged him on IG and he had muted the chat. I decided not to say I saw anything and give him the chance to tell me himself. So I asked him who he was talking to earlier. At first, he told me it was a girl he knew from high school. He saw that I was upset. Then, 10 minutes later, he grabbed the iPad and showed me his DMs, saying, "Girl, you worry too much. I wasn't talking to another girl." If I hadn't seen the chats before, I would have believed him. But I had seen it and told him, "We're done. I saw her messaging you. You've deleted it." Then I went outside and was anxious as heck. I told his mom what had just happened, and she went to talk to him. I went to our room and cried my eyes out like a hysterical person. He came to sit with me and talk, saying he was sorry. I called him a heartless person and was really mean to him again. Eventually, I decided to stay with him, but on the condition that I could have his password to all his social media accounts. The next day, I woke up with a weird feeling in my stomach. I decided to look through his saved TikToks and saw him saving other girls. I cried again and asked if we could talk. He got really defensive and stressed because he knows I broke up with my ex because of this. I stayed calm, though I did cry about it to him. He told me it was for his art, he makes 3D characters, and that he isn't that kind of guy. Other things I've noticed include his Twitter account being filled with Asian girls. I hadn't said anything about that, though. When we got home from the trip, I got another weird stomach feeling and decided to find out who the girl is that viewed my TikTok profile. Turns out it was the same girl he was texting. I decided to break up with him, but when I told him why, he said he didn't know it was her. I decided to trust him, and we didn't break up after all. A few weeks later, he started commenting on my chest a lot. He told me, "They got bigger, they got small again. When is your next period?" Because he knows my chest is bigger before my period. "Your chests are so small. Haha. And then I had a dream you had a really big chest." I was really confused as to why he was paying so much attention to them. We were engaging in spicy sleep. He put a blanket over me and grabbed his phone. I accused him of going on Twitter to look at those girls that pop up on his FYP. I immediately stopped and didn't let him touch me after that. I woke up with a weird stomach feeling again and decided to look through his social media history. When I got to his Instagram watch history, I saw about 40 reels of women, voluptuous women from the same account with no videos from other accounts in between, which means he'd watch them back to back. I sent him a video of it because I was so done. I sent it with the text, "You guys are all the same." I didn't handle the situation well. It was very toxic, to say the least.
Well, I agree in that because you should have broken up the first time.
Yeah, like, I don't think you were toxic for sending that
not
text.
For
like,
this.
I just think that we could have avoided this by just, like,
altogether.
leaving.
Like,
yeah.
when we broke up the first time, let it stick.
I let him believe I blocked him after sending the video. He asked me what he did wrong, lol, and then convinced me that his algorithm randomly shows him these things and that he wasn't actively searching for it at all. Because that's how algorithms work. I decided to forgive him. That was yesterday. He gave me a FaceTime call yesterday evening and asked me why I looked through his history. I told him about the chest thing. He told me he felt that I didn't trust him and that he felt like he had to walk on eggshells with me because every time I see something on his social media that involves a girl, I act out and become mean to him. He also says that his mom and brother don't see the wrong in the history thing and said he couldn't do anything about it. He feels like I don't understand him and that I wrongfully compare him to my ex. He also finds it draining to give me constant reassurance and doesn't like the way I say mean things when I'm upset. I've never called him bad words or anything, but I guess I do say insulting things like "you're heartless." He told me that the past few months have drained him, especially yesterday. So he asked for space and that it could be up to a few months of space. I didn't respond in an understanding way to him to all the things he told me on that FaceTime call.
Oh my goodness. The way that I know that he's a good gaslighter is that he like makes it sound he makes it sound good. You know? Like he makes me being like, "Oh, well maybe, there is another side I'm not seeing." But then we get to the end and I'm like, "Oh no, he just wants to F other women."
Yeah.
Like, oh, he wants a couple
It's
months
like
of space.
Not just break up.
Yeah,
Just
why do
break
you want a
up.
couple months of space? What are you going to do in a couple months of space?
You know what? You shouldn't get space from. I don't know. I'm always trying to find the
That was perfect.
transition into it. The point being, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, or a carrier pigeon holding the transcript in his little talons.
Sometimes we leave it on Aphrodite's altar.
There's another relevant update, but let's discuss.
Yeah. Wow. Break up.
Break up.
Well, I don't have any other advice for you.
Break up.
Break up. And please, like, again, because I've seen how you've behaved throughout this whole story, you need a minute before you get into another relationship.
Because and it is interesting. She even starts this story with like,
I was not.
I have a
healed
lot of
from this.
insecurities.
Yeah.
I get jealous very easily, and I get mean.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the time, sometimes people think that saying that is good enough.
Yeah, it's
like as long as they're like,
I know
oh, like, yeah, I get pretty jealous.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you can't stop there. You have to be like, okay, I recognize that
Yeah.
jealousy is something that I struggle with.
Yeah.
How do I figure that out? And how do I work
because
on
at this
that?
point, I'm like, how much of this is your jealousy coming out in extremes, or how much of this is him, actually pushing past boundaries that you've set? And it might be a little bit of both.
Yeah, because there's definitely like he's doing some weird
Absolutely.
like shady stuff.
Yeah.
But it is also like if you know that is something that you struggle with,
Yeah.
really being aware of and watching for that stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, regardless of who you're dating next, whether they're a good person or not, you're going to react the same way.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is yep. You
That's the
actually said
thing.
it perfectly, and I had nothing else to add.
That's the thing.
Instead of yes and, just yes.
Yeah.
OB says, I was very cold to him and only focused on my own feelings. I made some toxic comments. I also said I couldn't understand how he was okay with not talking to me for so long, and I couldn't even think of doing that to him. He just responded that I don't get the reason he wants to stop contact for now. After that, he just said goodnight. Do you guys think that he still wants to be with me after all of this? And what can I do to make this relationship work?
Nothing.
Or is our relationship ruined?
Yes, your relationship is over.
Yeah. The comment has something which I feel like we'll probably agree with, which says, all he does is piss you off. Why do you care if it's over? Are you afraid you won't have anyone to be mad at anymore? Oh, that was crazy. That was a crazy way to end that, actually. I was like, yeah, we'll probably agree with this commenter. And then they put some sauce on it right at the end. OP replies, no, I care because I genuinely love him and I don't want to be this way towards him. I've summed up all the things we've fought over in this paragraph. The other parts of our relationship are all happy and we're like best friends.
No, you're not. You're literally not. That's not how best friends behave.
Yeah.
Stop lying to yourself.
I wrote this text to get advice, criticism, and just honest feedback to better myself for him. Another commenter says, what the F can you possibly be getting out of this relationship that you'd even care if it's ruined? You're terrible for each other. He wants to break up with you but is afraid to tell you. Quit making toxic comments with him and with anyone else, and stop making your issues other people's problems.
My girlfriend wanted a procedure, but the real reason shattered me.
This is so vague. I don't even have a quippy thing for it. I'm just like, whatever could you mean?
Some backstory.
Oh, perfect.
We've been together about 1.5 years, and we get along fabulously. I love her like crazy. We've had a rough patch, but we made it through, and now we're great. We say I love you all the time, regular dates, rarely fight, etc. Great dynamic. By the way, this comes from Hister. What now? And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
But we're here to give good advice goofly, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, we are both child-free. It was one of the first things we bonded over. She's been planning to get her tubes tied when she was 30. Since before we met, she has an IUD now. So permanent birth control is nothing new. I support her decision completely. But then a couple days ago, we were talking and the topic of how she'll be 30 soon came up and the surgery. Then she drops on me totally casually that instead of getting her tubes tied, she's leaning towards getting her uterus completely taken out. I'll admit I'm not the most medically savvy, but from what I know and looked up about it, it doesn't seem safe or logical, especially at her age, so it was kind of a bombshell. I said I thought it had too many health risks and could send her into menopause from what I know about it. She just kept repeating that she knows what she's talking about and it's fine and not to question her. From what I know, her periods aren't very heavy or painful and there's no history of cancers, so I have no idea what brought this on. It escalated to a heated argument that led to her saying she wished she hadn't said anything and that it's not my body, and storming out of the room. That was a few days ago, and things are still chilly. Neither of us have said anything on the topic. So what the heck? She won't say why, and from what I've researched on the procedure, it A, seems completely unnecessary, B, could be/is harmful for a woman her age, and C, good luck finding a doctor who will do it. She's usually super into her health and weighing the risks and benefits, so I don't get it. Am I missing something here, or am I just being an unsupportive jackbutt? And there are some comments. Common one says you don't have to broach the subject or talk about it at all because they won't remove a perfectly healthy organ. If she has normal periods, no fibroids, no cancer, it's not coming out. It's beyond too dangerous to perform this on a healthy person for no reason, and it will not happen. It's not a birth control option. It's not elective, period. A doctor will tell her this in due time, so this is not your problem. Stop worrying about this. I just need to correct you, menopause. That's only if they remove the ovaries along with the uterus, which isn't necessarily and not part of an average hysterectomy. 2, you've been getting some frankly crap advice here. No offense, but this sub seems to have been filled with people who immediately jammed cotton into their ears the minute they saw something about women's reproductive organs and stopped paying attention to reality. You should absolutely be worried about your girlfriend. Heck, my fiance has a cold and I'm worried about her health. If her response to a cold was I should get my sinuses removed, I'd be super concerned. While it's probably true she won't find a doctor worth her salt who will provide one, if she's set on it, she'll be able to get one way or another. And that's very concerning. As for what you should do here, step back and give it a little time before you guys talk about it again. Let cooler heads prevail, as it were. Ask lots of questions and come in without, or seemingly without, judgments. A hysterectomy is not a my body, my choice thing. That's a major surgery with very long-term effects. If her reasons are nothing but 0% of babies and no more periods, then she does not have good reasons. Comment 3 says, of course it's not your body, but you love her and you want what's best for her. So you felt the need to tell her your concerns, and it's unfortunate that that was in the form of a heated argument, but the complete removal of an organ is not a trifle matter. And there is an update. Wow, this really blew up. I've read through all the replies and want to address a few things, especially for anyone who didn't read the original post. I'm not being mistreated. I'm not being manipulated. The hysterectomy idea was brought up as an option to permanent sterilization. It's part of an ongoing conversation. We are child-free. She had planned to get her tubes tied when she turned 30 since before she met me. It probably would not have escalated to this if I had just said, okay. It was when I reacted strongly that she got defensive. Therapy, particularly couples therapy, was already suggested between us, and we're probably going to go for it. She admitted she has some baggage surrounding her previous bedroom relationships, and because I wasn't listening and she figured that getting her ovaries out was a potential solution to something. I didn't think it was needed to go into detail like this, but she said when we were talking that she was surprised at how heated she got over the issue. She also realized after the fact no doctor would take her ovaries out voluntarily. For the people that missed it, we generally communicate pretty well. I just missed the spicy sleep talk from her for 6 months. Again, something that can hopefully be addressed with therapy. If every bump in the road or accidental miscommunication is breakup worthy, jeepers, good luck to you guys. I got a lot of advice on the last post from all points of view and a couple of messages, so I figured I'd do an update. First off, she didn't actually want a hysterectomy. It was a cry for help or red flag. Also, I'm an idiot. So the day after I made the post, I wanted to clear the air because, like I said, things were chilly and off. So I sat down with her and I had a whole apology planned out about doubting her judgment, and clearly she knows her body and I was just worried because I love her and I support her and so on and so forth. But I only got partway in before she got upset, told me it doesn't matter because she knows she can't get one and it's not happening. Then I got really confused and said if it's what she wants, then I'll help her get one and find the right doctor and we can do our research together. She yelled that she doesn't want one and to drop it and leave her alone. Then she burst into tears and stormed out of the apartment. See, OP, this is why I really feel like you need to, it seems like he, tried to go one way, didn't work. Tried to go the other way, didn't work. I think we just need to go middle of the road and say, why do we want it?
Yeah, but I will say it does sound like she does not want to talk about it.
Yes, I agree. But it seems like OP's I understand
There
why.
are extremes occurring.
Yes, it's like, I'm fully on board. I don't need any information. It's like, I don't think either of those ones are going to work. I think it's just, hey, why do we feel like this? So I'm super confused and worried at this point. I didn't call because when she gets this upset, it's better to leave her be. But I sent her a text telling her I love her and I want to fix whatever's going on. She came back an hour later, still crying, and said she needs to talk and tell me something. I was completely braced for the worst, that she'd cheated or was pregnant, but I think what she actually said hurt more. She wanted the hysterectomy as a last-ditch resort to intentionally unalive her spicy drive. Remember how I mentioned we had a rough patch? About 6 months ago. Well, I thought everything was better than ever since then, but what I didn't notice was I've coincidentally taken on some bigger projects at work since then, which has upped my stress levels, and I didn't notice we've been having less and less spicy sleep. She pointed out that we only had spicy sleep twice in the past month, and I don't initiate. Girl, we didn't have to jump to, let's get a hysterectomy. Let's just talk.
Yeah. I mean, what did I say earlier today? It's like the constant lesson being learned of you just got to communicate. You just got to communicate.
She also told me her last 3 relationships ended with passed away bedrooms where her partners refused to work on it. So she was scared it's happening to her again. She then told me that if it keeps happening to her, that there must be something wrong with her and how awful she feels. So she just wanted to not feel anything spicy-wise. By the way, I want you to feel like you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story, but ouch. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is just, you just have to, slowly, wean it out of her.
Like the information.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the uterus.
The information.
No, it really is like that should have been, those feelings should have been talked about way earlier before you go to medical.
Yeah, a huge medical change. That's we don't need any procedure that's gonna literally affect your life forever. But I'm glad she finally told you, and I hope that you can listen and make those changes.
I know, I'm curious to see how this ends.
Honestly, the whole thing is heartbreaking and I felt so guilty. She had brought up the spicy sleep thing a few times before, but I hadn't taken it seriously enough, and I guess she just gave up. Ugh. Anyways, I felt like garbage, and I've spent every day since trying to make it up to her. And yes, we've been having spicy sleep. I've also committed to making sure I initiate and to actually listen before things snowball. She's happier, she's incredible, I'm much better for actually getting some too. And I'm the luckiest man on the planet. And all's well that ends well. There we go. That's all just communication saves the day. Another story saved by communication. But folks, that's the end of that story and the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.